item number 8, impact to car parking charges increase. Brent?
Thank you, Chair. So what members will note is there's not a report, a report from myself to the item. The reason for that is the information that was requested on from Council Republicans School Work Programme Suggestion Form asked for information to be presented on in a certain types of information timestamps. And then there was also the suggestion of a working group to look at future long-term use of less well-used car park. So on that basis, Chair, what I've actually put forward to the panel is the information that was requested, because I don't actually know how I would have started to write a report or what that report would have said, because it's a question of information report, and the panel looking at the information that was requested and then moving forward on the task in the way they wish to do that. Three sort of lots of information were requested. The first one was car parking daytime ticket sales by week and by car park for the 4 months, April, May, June, July, in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. So that's the large-ish spreadsheet that was sent out, which gives that information. The other bit of information I asked for was information on market stalls, and that's the smaller sort of figures that are in a tabular format but not actually in a table. And the last one, which Shirley circulated is information on town centre footfall. This is the information that comes from the Roadwalk Shopping Centre. So we are reliant on the Roadwalk Shopping Centre giving us that information, and this is on our 10 performance management system. So it's just a straight print from that. So we've got information for various months and years there. Some of them are complete, some are not complete. So we are reliant on Roadwalk providing us with that. What we haven't got there is actually any information for 16-17 from April onwards. Lorraine Allen is chasing that up from Roadwalk. What I don't know is whether Roadwalk have got that information or not, or whether the sensors are working or not, or what have you. So that's the 3 lots of information that was asked for. Between Ian and myself, we might be able to answer any questions that arise. The one thing I would sort of focus, I guess, from the big spreadsheet, which has got the 4 years worth of information on it across the various car parks, is that it appears to me, and I've not run any technical regression analysis on this, but there doesn't seem to be any particular correlation between numbers of tickets sold in car parks and the price. And the reason I say that is that we can see some ups and downs across all car parks on different years. And of course, for 2013, 14 and 15 there were no changes to car park prices. So you would expect, if there was a distinct correlation between car park prices and number of tickets sold, those years would be pretty much the same. But we can see ups and downs there. So trying to bring my attention to the particular bits I've highlighted here. So for week 2, April 2013, 14 and 15, you look across at the total at the end of the right hand side of that table there. For 2013 we've got 28,169 tickets sold in 2013. That then reduces to 27,569 for 2014, and then pops back up again a bit to 27,996 for 2015. Similarly, if you look at week 4, which is the sort of the 4th box down there, again the end figure there. For 2013, we've got 30,291 tickets sold. It then drops next year to 28,808, and then it goes back up again to 30,262. On other car parks, for other weeks, so if we go down to June, which is sort of about 2/3 of the way down the sheet in the first week in June, we've got a much more steady increase there. So week 1 in June 2013, 28,562, goes up to 29,267 the year after, and 30,536 the year after that. So on that one, we've got an increase. The other two, you're up and down. There was no change in car park prices there. And then on individual car parks, similar patterns can be seen there. So I think that's the first thing I pointed out. There doesn't seem to be any particularly significant correlation there. What I've not done, and it might be something that the panel wants to do, is just to have a look at when Easter falls. That could have an effect, and that I've still never, at the age of 51, still don't understand why Easter is so much each year. But that can have a that does move it on. The bank holidays don't they? So the late May bank holidays, spring bank holiday, and all don't tend to move there. School holes tend to be about start and end about the same time. Or whether it's weather-related factors, if you've had a particularly wet summer or dry summer. So that's just my the only sort of observation and sort of presentation on this check. Other than that, well, given the figures there, sort of over to the panel, really.
Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, I'm not exactly happy with the way we've had the data, because obviously Councillor Condor's had longer to interrogate the data than us, because we've only had it plonked in front of us tonight. Councillor Condor's produced this spreadsheet, which is more able for someone who's just looking at it with fresh eyes to actually interpret the data compared to what there was.
Ben, can you clarify that, please?
These bits of information I sent to Shirley's team, and Shirley's team have sent them out to members.
I don't remember seeing them, but if they're
and I don't know when or how, but I've given to Shirley's team, and I did explain to Shirley's team that particularly in terms of pulling this lot off our system is quite an intensive report running process. So that was on Monday this week, Shirley? I think so. It was behind the sort of the normal deadline, but that's been sent out by Shirley's team to all members at the same time.
Did anybody receive this on an email?
No.
The only thing I received was that smaller report.
Right. Well, then I can only apologise for that, because I was under the impression it had been sent out to you. Keith said he hadn't received it, but I assumed everybody else had. So if you're telling me you haven't, then I can only apologise for that.
And to continue that apology, it's when I found out that there wasn't these facts and figures a week before, or when the wiki paper was out, I asked Shirley to chase it up, and I said, well, at least we can get them out electronically. Let's get them out electronically. Well, that hasn't happened. My apologies, as well as everybody else's apologies.
Thank you, Chair, because it is a bit difficult to try and comment at the last minute. I'm almost minded to move a deferral for us to examine the data a bit more closely, to have a full written report to go with it, because it's not fair for members to come in at the last minute with this data. I accept what Brent's saying verbally. I need a bit more time to try and get my head around and look at some of this data which you provided, because if you look at the data which Councillor Condor's provided, it gives a bit of a different slant on some of the stuff you said. Now, graphs are more useful to me, if I'm honest, than a spreadsheet full of data, because that's the raw data, and then put it into a chart, you get more of a trend. And the trend which I'm getting here is it looks like people have got across the resistance from 13, 14 and 15 when prices were last increased, but then when you look at the chart for 2016, there is a big resistance to the price charges which have come up, which to me goes against what you just said, that you can't find a correlation between price and ticket sales. So, to be honest, I'm going to absolutely, I'm going to move a deferral. Because I'm not happy at looking at data which has just been put, especially detailed data like this.
Councillor, I shall do that in a second. I've got one councillor. Councillor Condicroft.
Yeah, I hadn't received any data by Monday, and when I was having my hearing on Monday, I popped into the office and asked for the data to be resent, and it was resent individually to me, and the original data was sent to an email group for Economic Corporate OSC. So that YooHoo group obviously fails if no one gets it. But I did have the data on Monday, and this spreadsheet is a result of me tabulating, taking out all the non-missing weeks, so it just goes 0 to 18 weeks, taking out the Harefield Road car park from each year, so it's a like-for-like comparison, and just plotting the 4 years data, just so I could visualise it, because as Brent said, it goes up and down. But looking at the orange line on here, it's clear. Apart from the first 2 weeks, it's down every single week by about 10%. And interestingly, I think the charge increase came in about 2 weeks into April. 17th of April. So this chart starts from the beginning of April. 2 weeks, the charges didn't come in. If you look at this graph, exactly after the charges come in, the orange line drops roughly 10%. So it is as clear as day. This year we have 2 weeks with the old charging, which are the first 2 weeks of the financial year, and 16 weeks with the new charging. You cannot be more clearer that the charging has really hammered. And I did this analysis and I looked at the individual car parks. The back of the council house is very robust. We actually had 2% more ticket sales there because effectively that's always full. So what happens is you put prices up, less people come to town, but the actual most convenient car parks stay full because they're controlled by supply and demand in terms of spaces. So what happens is road walks down about 5%. Behind here is still fairly full, but the more peripheral car parks are really emptying out. And I do think we need a proper task and finish group to actually look at the car parks and look at actually even differential pricing. I say this data, I did it quickly, but it's weekly, 18 weeks data.
Councillor Wilson has suggested that I presume that we put this on at the next.
Yeah, I'm happy to the next one.
What's the panel's opinion of that? I can't find a seconder for that, but
Yeah, second.
okay, there's seconders or thunder for such a thing. Right?
Just make the point that I still don't know what written report to write. Yeah. I just, and I've not said that many times in my career, but I don't know what written report to write.
Councillor Moment.
Chairman, we seem to be looking at an 18-week period of the year. If you look at the footfall in the town centre in this road walk-based analysis, by the time you get to Christmas, the footfall doubles. Yeah. And I would much rather have a balanced view over 12 months than I would in dealing with. I mean, when you come down to 2 weeks and use 2 weeks as a comparison for the rest of the 18-week period, it's not really illustrated much. Because anything, weather, the closure of the co-op, there's a number of things that have happened to the middle of this town that are significant events in terms of shoppers' preferences and movements and so on. And I would much rather see it against, with all the seasonal variations included, to get a realistic idea of what's happening. And at the end of that, you will have an outturn as far as income from car park sales, which is one of the better comparisons to make, because you are actually then looking at the impact over 12 months and the likely increase in income through the increased charges. I mean, it doesn't even, the charging policy doesn't even seek to change the first hour. And if it doesn't change the first hour, then it would be a variant that's based on people wanting to do particular things. So I do think it's far too early. I mean, I don't mind having the debate, we can bring it up at the next meeting, but to actually try and draw any sort of conclusion from the information here, you've got footfall, which is 4 and 5 million in the town centre at certain parts of the year. And we are nowhere near reaching those figures, and it is I would have thought roughly comparable with previous years for the 18-week period. So I think it's too early and too quick to draw any sort of conclusion from it.
Yeah.
And you may find a working party is chasing figures as they develop to get an indication that things have changed and as a result of car parking charges. I think it takes a longer term view than the one we're being presented with here. And I think that's why, with respect to the officer, you can't easily report on and draw conclusions from figures which are as short term as this.
Okay.
So I would welcome a postponement to the next meeting, Chairman, and this will be then a developing theme which we can address in a more balanced way.
Can I ask you about then, if the panel agrees to postpone it to the next meeting, the figures for Christmas, etc., could be presented at the next meeting, would that give us a more likelihood indication?
Yeah, when's the next week?
I think it's the 26th.
Oh, January.
January.
Yeah, we should have December's figures, yeah.
And that would give us a wee bit more correlation as the councillor said.
And Chess, do you want to graph it rather than... Well, let's just have a question of fair to present it. It is easy.
It would be
Yeah.
Just send me the data, I'll do the graphs.
Brent, I suggest you do the work and let councillor Condon draw his
No,
own
what-
conclusions.
Would there be any correlation with or disadvantage in the fact that there's a lot of free car parking in December?
But that was done
We've
previously.
done free car parking, I think, for 6, 7, 8 years on the Sundays in December.
Yeah.
I mean, in one sense, there might be a bit of a tweak because might I'm trying to work out whether, but I think potentially you could have had 4 Sundays before the 24th, 28th, 4 probably. I think you can. So there might be some years where there might be 4 free Sundays and some 3. But we've done that for a long time. There will be, in terms of ticket sales, so the gross numbers, we obviously did used to sell tickets after 6 p.m.
Yes.
and we don't now.
Yeah.
So we probably need to try and have a look at that somehow. In fact, for that year.
got free car parking.
Yeah.
So,
So it becomes very, there's lots and lots of variables that feed into it.
so what I'm going to suggest then is that there seems to be a consensus building up, is that because we've received this information, some people haven't received this information until the start of the meeting. The suggestion is that we have this up as an item at the next meeting, and we'll have more information in front of us than what there is at the present moment, appropriately said,
And
There'll be
graphic
councillor
as
beforehand.
well.
and graph form. Councillor Condon.
Can I just ask also, we have a percentage change for each car park, because as I say, road walks was down 5%, some weren't down at all, some are down 20%, so it might be useful just to say a simple table saying what would change over what will it be, about 3/4 of a year then, won't it? About 8 months worth of data per car park.
Can we see what information we can get in front of? Informed choices are always good choices.
It's a lot of data.
Councillor Watkins.
Chair, apologies for being late, I've just been stuck in traffic. Brent, how do you go about recording the payments from mobiles and things like that?
We've got info on that comes in, so it's not tickets out. So for example, I was quite surprised actually at the number of mobile phone payments we get on Regent Street 1 and 2.
So you've got no problem recording that?
So we can get that data, which I suspect is because it's quite close to the car park, the rail station. I suspect it's more business people paying their parking back and not fussing about the extra 20p I think it costs you to do it on your phone. So I suspect that's why I wouldn't pay 20p extra on the phone. If I put the cash in myself and I'm doing it today, I'd be absolutely honest with that. But yeah, that info can come into the mix as well.
So to wind this up then, well, everybody agreed that this goes on as an item at the next meeting with the appropriate information, graphs, or whatever anybody simpler tabulation or correlation or, you know. And you see, I never got to mention,
Price elasticity of demand
exactly, I never got to mention it, perhaps next time.
next time.
Everybody agree to that?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, thank you.